Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to a Jester cast. Here I am, FourCourtJester, working in association with GameReplays.org. You are watching the Craft Cup number 5 finals. This is game number 3, and game number 3 says Mr. MaNa here is from Mouse Esports going up against NightEnd from MTW. It is a 1-1 tied in the series, and we're on a nice kind of looking red map. Yep, it's a nice kind of looking red map. That makes no sense whatsoever. But anyways, that all aside, we do have a 1-1. So the first game here was won by Mr. MaNa by defending a tower rush cheese from Mr. Knight here. And that's just what I'm going to call the two guys. Mr. MaNa, Mr. Knight. I think it sounds nice. So that being said, the game number 2, Knight here took the game very nicely with some Phoenix Harass up to some charge lots with some really kick-ass immortals just taking the lives of so many stalkers, and of course some colossi to clean up the meat, which is zealots. So, all that aside, this is game number 3. We're on this funky little 4-player map, 5-player map, and we have NightEnd just doing some scouting, no problem. Now, in these higher PvP kind of games, you can do really a few different strategies. You can do the Zealot Rush, which is actually getting nerfed next patch, 1.11. Sorry, I don't remember what the patch number is, but the next patch will be actually nerfing the Zealot Rush, increasing build time for them, as well as the build time, or sorry, the recharge time for gateways into warp gates, because basically the cheese is very stinky. It's like Gouda cheese. And that being said, you could do that. For other PvP alternatives, you could do the really kind of be a jerk move and steal your opponent's gas and then try to outrace him to the final end tech by limiting the gas factor. So we do have Mr. Knight here finding Mr. MaNa in the top right. Mr. MaNa, of course, the red Protoss. And he does not seem to be interested in stealing gas whatsoever. Does see the cybernetic score go down. He is sitting on a 1 gate. There is no chrono boost on that gate, so instead focusing on that economy, which really a good macro game should be doing. The first game, obviously, we saw him chrono boosting the Zealots non-stop just to pump him right out there. I mean, why not? 50%, negative 50% build time is a great thing. And so Mr. MaNa now has to know that he is down in this corner, but he is late to the scouting party. He is going to find out a little too late that basically these guys are mirror images of each other. That is what is happening right now. NightEnd and Mr. MaNa's Zealot dancing around on the ramp, but he was able to get him out of here. Mouse did not have his gas stolen this round, so that will be a very, as I said, identical kind of party to go to. So this probe, however, by Mr. MaNa is just going to come in here, see basically all there is to see, and kind of decide to do nothing about it. So Robo Bay coming down. Robo Bay, thanks. Mr. Day9, thanks HD. Now you got me saying it. Robo Bay coming out for Mr. Knight. But as I said, these guys are like pure mirrors of each other. We got the Robo Bay coming out here. We got the Warp Gate. We got a double gate going now for Mr. MaNa. And he already has that Stalker advantage. He got it out a lot quicker. And Mr. Knight, he's not too concerned. So we are going with a lot more production heavy on this side for Mr. MaNa here. And I mean, gateway, these sentries are so powerful on these games with ramps. Like one force field will just block off your ramp, no problem. It's great for splitting armies in half because it has to force them aside. And you know, in these narrow choke points, it is just a godsend. You split that army in half, you take out half of it, then you can take out the other half, no problem whatsoever. And because of these powerful force fields, you don't see these Protoss players really walling off in the higher level tier games, Diamond, Platinum, that kind of fun stuff. You will not see them wall off their main, and indeed neither really player is doing that, because simply these force fields, 50 mana, you can almost pop it right off as soon as you spawn, and it will just block it, no problem for you, and that will give you a lot of time to react however you see fit. So this map does have a dedicated expansion, and it seems like both players want to take advantage of that. Mr. MaNa bringing out that early observer, just like last game. It gives him a great advantage into Mr. Knight here, who doesn't seem to favor that early observer. Instead, he goes for these early immortals, which great, awesome, lets you, destroy stalkers, no problem. But this observer will just let you see what your enemy is doing, no problem, and that is a big advantage to give up. I mean, you've done your initial scouting, but now you don't know exactly what is going on in this base. So there's the pro tip of the day, boys and girls. Scouting is what you need. Down goes those destructible rocks. We're probably going to see a quick expand here from Mr. Knight. Let's take a quick look at resources. Resources is very low, so we're not going to see that great an expansion. But he is going at a nice rate of 280, 300. It's just spiking here to those resources. So he does. It is indicative of having more probes, and I think we can check that out with Army. Nope, we cannot. Let's just look at APM for fun. Each player here, pretty much the same, averaging about the same. So there we go, a little bit of miscommunication there on my part, but that force field going down on that ramp just says, you're not welcome here. Go away. I don't want to see you anymore. And that's exactly what these guys did. They ran back to home. So let's see what we got now. Double gate going into lots of pylons, going into Robo Bay, and no fast expand. I mean, you destroyed your rocks, Mr. MaNa, but no fast expand. Fine. Okay. Colossi and a lone immortal here. There's a lack of immortals on MaNa's team last game, and really that could have definitely helped turn the tide. Even a Phoenix coming out. Where's that Stargate? Here's that hidden Stargate once more. So NightEnd, this is his last time. He's going to go for that Phoenix harass once more, which is basically you fly in from this direction, you pick up a probe, you kill it, you pick up a probe, you kill it, you run away, into the cold expanse of space, I suppose. That's a lot of extra room to play with there. And you just keep repeating that as your energy comes back. And it's a great way to cripple your enemy, especially with non-anti-air builds, which in this case it does look like Mr. MaNa here is going for less anti-air and more beefy Zealot. So we do have the stalkers, great. We got the sentry, great. Looks like here comes a little bit, so he kind of knew what was going on, and Mr. Phoenix's for Mr. Knight is just gonna run back, or at least run around for now. So this is a very ground intensive army as well. So NightEnd bulking up on these immortals, on this meat, the Zealots. So what is going on? We still have Phoenixes coming out, so he's probably going to cap him at 4. 4 is a great number. That being said, he's probably going to cap him at 5 because he already has 4 out. But I guess we don't want a repeat of last game. MaNa coming in here already has his troops assembled. I don't even know if Mr. Knight is going to find that out. No problem. These Colossi thermal lances. Nope, not thermal lances. They're not done yet. That's not even in production. But that is some insane range. Going to be trying to use the range to big benefit here. Incoming the force fields. No, there's no force fields. I thought I heard a force field. But out goes. There we go. So there's some force fields blocking off some of the army, splitting it up. These Phoenixes, however, are just going to be great for these Colossi. Colossi, of course, the disadvantage there is that they can be attacked by air, and I mean, same tactics just seem to have definitely won that fight again. So the Phoenix is focusing on those Colossi, then using their graviton beams, there we go, right there, to pick up, no problem, these stragglers, and just pick them off one by one. And who survived that fight? This one Zealot here. So I mean, that is just a huge disadvantage. These Phoenixes have proven themselves time and time again, and it's 2 games now, and like we got these Immortals with so many kills. Like that was combined, I think 10 kills right there. And these Immortals just godsends from Ire. And I mean, Mr. MaNa, you're using this observer, great, fine, but I mean, what's going on. You kind of got to adapt here, and you're going to need to deal with these Phoenixes. I mean, there's no point in keeping making these Colossi. These Phoenixes can just take you out, no problem. And again, I mean, the anti-air is just not here, so these Phoenixes can run in, graviton beam, bam, bam, bam. I mean, these guys are taking out like 6, 7, 8 probes now, and they can just run away no problem. Well, one pilot died for the greater good there, but I mean, look at the kills on these guys. I mean, 7 kills right there. I know one of them is a Colossus. So, I mean, 6 probes, and you paid for it with 1 Phoenix. And, I mean, we're going to keep going. Phoenix is the name of the game. We do got charge lots coming out here. There it is. So the charge lots to try to, you know, close those gaps, use those force fields, close those gaps, sandwich your enemy. That is the name of the game. There's one sentry hiding in the corner. And really, we don't seem to have any more else coming. But expansion time. NightEnd going to be expanding, weirdly enough, to kind of his middle expansion as opposed to these destructible hidden ones. But same idea, it does not matter to these Phoenixes. They are air units. They're going to come in here. They are going to lift, kill, and get right out. So this map just really has a lot of extra space to play around with in this back end. So without any kind of anti-air or observer support, I mean, you can't really track what's going to go down there. And we only have these 2 stalkers up here. There we go. I was about to say you could probably get rid of those stalkers, no problem. There's only 2 of them. Here comes the rest of the main body, but 2 stalkers is just 2 less for your army. And I mean, this Phoenix harass is almost on the point of overpowered. We got a little bit of a switch up going on. We're going to get transition here to Void Rays, and Void Rays, especially when you power them up, it can really do a lot of damage. I mean, especially against light infantry, no problem. There we go. Finally, our own observer going to be getting rid of that jerk. So Void Rays here, damage 5, but you can charge these up, and it really does an insane amount of damage. It really does. So we got what, the 6 Phoenix Corp here. Now Mr. MaNa is just kind of doing the same old. He's going for a lot of Colossi. He has the Zealots. I mean, he is bumping up his Stalker production, which really is kind of needed at this point. Some static defense would not hurt whatsoever here as well. I mean, get a few photon cannons. At least they're going to get some shots in. But we do not seem to be interested in that whatsoever. What else is still in the production? Still looks like he's going to be sticking to Colossi, going to be sticking to, you know, what he does best, which is should be saturating this expo. But he's just lost so many probes now. Let's take a look at units lost. Look at the difference here. Almost, there we go, 5,000 minerals worth of lost units here for Mr. MaNa, as opposed to the 1,800 that NightEnd has incurred by himself. And that's just one of the Phoenix plus, you know, the losses here, 15 units. I mean, really, these guys are paying for themselves, no problem whatsoever. And you're keeping down the difference in resources. Look at the mineral per minute difference. Okay, well, it's not that much anymore because he's kind of gone back to saturating. I mean, the main is almost mined out. Same here. And let's see, do we have harvesters? Units. There we go. So there's the difference. 5 probes difference, but you've had to spend so much money to catch back up for all those dead probes. And basically we're saying enough is enough. Here's the Stalker army saying, I'm not really afraid of you, but these Immortals are not going to be afraid of these Stalkers whatsoever. So going to be trying to orb walk back here. So great use of the orb walking, but I mean, there's so few Stalkers left alive at this point that the Phoenixes are just going to have a heyday on these Colossi. No problem. In come the Void Rays, and they're going to be charging up damage. No problem either. And, like, Mr. MaNa, you're just dropping like flies. These Immortals going down in a blaze of glory, but they took a lot of kills with them. In fact, they took the entire army with him. There you go. So, MaNa tapping out once more. So that puts NightEnd up at 2-1 for the series of Craft Cup number 5 EU. So great job by him. This Phoenix harass just pays for itself so much. It's imba. That's all I have to say. It is really good, really fun, and I mean, even transitioning here to the Void Rays, there's really nothing MaNa was producing that could really stand up to that. I mean, Pure Stalkers is really not just going to stand up to that whatsoever. That's great. That was game number 3. Let's go on to game number 4.